All right, everybody. I'm here. This is DJ Gill with Star Collector, DJ Gill from the Pop Shoppe. I'm going to click quickly over to the Facebook page here. And the guys will serenade you with the song. I just want to make sure that we're on and we're working. They're going to sing for you.
Trying to get some clinking going here to serenade the folks, but it's not working. My ice is all melted. Oh, well. It is a Caesar, though. It's a Canadian drink. You wanted some CanCon, Kirk, so you got it.
Nice.
I've got a parallel 49, close to where we rehearse.
There you go.
Nice. I'm the lone Yankee in the group.
Okay. So, who's a Yankee? We're on. We're live. So everybody who joined in, please, we welcome you guys. You can also, if you post a comment on Facebook in this studio on StreamYard, I can see it. If you have a question for the guys, like you could ask it, or if you just want to say, "Hey Vic, you owe me $20," like you could do it like right here, because there's Amy, Kate. Oh, is that your wife?
No, that's our sister.
Oh, yeah. Your sister said cheers.
From Los Angeles.
So she said cheers. That's a cool thing about StreamYard. I could get all this.
All right,
stuff.
Cheers, Amy.
Here.
Oh, so we can't see it though.
No, you could do it on Facebook. You could actually on Facebook, but I'm getting it in the studio on StreamYard.
Okay. You can be our conduit.
Yeah, which is really cool. And I've got different looks on StreamYard, but I'm going to keep this. I like this monkey's view that we have. This works. So why don't you guys introduce yourself and what you do with the band and all that stuff for everyone? We can start. We can go we'll start with Vic and go like a clock.
Sure. I'm Vic. I'm the singer, guitar player, songwriter guy, frontman guy that usually likes to wear the shades, and because it's mostly to make up for my incredibly mediocre guitar playing. Because it's all flash, no talent. But yeah, that's my function in the band.
Flash is fast, Flash is cool. Francois, oh, sorry, I'm doing Blondie. Okay,
I'm Steve.
Monkey is or Steve.
Yeah, Monkey, lead guitar and backup vocals and some co-songwriting.
Nice.
Video making
now. Yeah.
Oh, recently. The video. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, every band should have a cool video. Sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
No, that's a graphic design too.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Design the album artwork. Steve's a multi-talented guy.
Multitasker.
Wow. Yes.
And then Adam, your?
I'm Adam, and I'm bass guitar, backup vocals, and weird sound effects.
Nice. So your drummer, the guy on the kit, he's not here. Who's that?
Adrian. No, he stretches himself pretty thin. he's got lots of commitments, and unfortunately tonight one of them was also musical, in fact. But
cool.
Hey man, got to do what you got.
I just want to give him props. That he's part of the whole thing.
Yeah. He's also our engineer for the latest album as well. So.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a really, really good engineer.
Well, the album is Game Day for those of you out there. I bet a lot of you, we don't have a ton of viewers right now, and that's okay, because how this typically works is we're going to record and do this. It's going to be great. And then the video stays up on the Facebook page for anybody who is watching now, and you can share it to anybody that you want. You can watch it whenever you want. And what I find is that, people have busy lives during weeknights like this. And that once the video is up there and it's just there, we're going to end up getting a couple hundred people views on it at least. So it'll be cool. It's a cool thing. So we still have to be on our best, even though we have 5 viewers right now. And that's cool. That's how it always is. Let me tell you.
Hey,
all right.
It's good to
so
have
I
5.
did let's go ahead, Adam.
Oh, it's good to have 5.
It's good to have 5. It could be less.
Yeah.
Now we're okay. Forget. So I am DJ Gill. I do the Pop Shoppe. It is a weekly radio show featuring mostly power pop rock, indie rock, and it is on WNUR. That's Evanston, Northwestern Chicago. Evanston's the first suburb just north of Chicago City. You can get the show on WNUR all over Chicago. So I like to sort of cheat. I usually say I'm a Chicago DJ in a Chicago station, and I think that's fair but it's whatever you guys think. I don't know. So it's on Chicago, and do it on 9 to 10 p.m. Central. And Rex. So Rex Randolph just commented that we're under the microscope. Rex is the manager for his brother's band. You know, the Adam Brown. He's a great performer in Montreal.
No, but I heard some of the stuff on some recent shows. It's great stuff. Yeah.
It's great stuff. So let's give a hey to Rex. I appreciate him for logging in, and Adam Brown also, who's a super talented Canadian cat as well. So you guys are from Canada. Underwater Sunshine has a great new album. Your album Game Day is awesome. What is going on with Canadian Power Pop? You guys are crushing
it. Boy, that's a big question.
Besides for Sloan, my favorite band of all time, who just went into the studio. I saw a photo where I don't know if I think Patrick was in there getting ready to record a new album. See, Steve knows. He watched.
I was just watching that on Instagram.
Yeah, I watch it on Instagram because I love that man. But you guys this album is awesome. Game Day. So I'm sure that a lot of you have heard it. It is getting airplay on my show. I'm going to unveil a song I haven't played from you guys on the album. What was cool about doing the interview is I went a little deeper on the album. I played a few cuts already. And so I'm playing a song that I didn't know existed that I thought was awesome. And your Super Zero Blues is awesome too. Now, what is the song I'm playing? I'm so bad, I get old and I can't remember things. So I got to look up what song I'm going to play so I can get people fired up. All right. It is The Silent Type.
Nice.
It's a great song. It's killer.
Thank you. That's one that Adam did a lot on, actually.
He did.
Okay.
Got some killer bass on it.
Some fantastic vocals from Adam as well.
You're gonna chat up your own brother on an interview.
Yeah. So you guys are brothers. So how did this happen? Were you guys already making music and then you're like, let's start a band? Why don't you tell me the origin of Star Collector? I don't have any idea.
Ed, you want to take it? You want me to? I can't hear you. You're muted. You got the dog.
There we go.
There we go.
Is somebody muted?
No, he's good.
All right.
There we go. Yeah, Vic and I have been in bands since we were I was 3 and he was 6. And we've been in make-believe bands, real bands, all kinds of bands since then. And we were in a mod band together in our teens. And then Vic moved away from our hometown of Edmonton.
Called generically the Mods, by the way.
Yeah, the band.
That was cool, man. I mean, I can hear some Who coming, or
yeah. And then over the years, even though Vic's lived in a different town, we've played together in all kinds of different configurations. Most of the time, it's me subbing for a bass player who can't make it or has a broken wrist, or they're in between bass players or something. But I've gotten a bunch of good gigs through them. European tour, playing up and down the West Coast. It's been great. I've hosted Star Collector in Portland a couple of times, playing with my mod band, Maud Lewis.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it's been a lifetime of music together. At least 15 years. No,
I find that bass players you can always get work as a bass player.
Yeah, that's for sure. I heard that before I ever picked up the bass.
Every time I get a request from somebody, would be like, anybody asks me, do you know somebody for our band? It's always a bass player. Once in a while, a drummer. It's never a guitar player.
It's mainly from us.
Yeah.
50% of all bass player ads in Canada come through Star Collector.
Okay. You guys are do your bass players self-destruct, combust automatically?
Pretty much.
About half of them.
Like
About how-
Stumpy, what was it?
Stumpy Joe.
Yeah, Stumpy Joe.
Drum Geek. Yeah. Well, so I'll take it up from there too. So that's true. So Ad and I played growing up, and then when I moved to Vancouver, I met Steve fairly soon after that, and we had a different band pre-Star Collector for 6 years, and actually made records and videos then too. And then when that band split up, it was sort of the first time I hadn't been in a band for a while. And the guy that was in the mods with Adam and I, his name's Dave, he called me out of the blue and said, I'm thinking of moving to Vancouver. Do you want to do some songwriting? So we'd written a lot of stuff together as kids. And I was kind of like first time in between bands in my life. So I was like, yeah, why not? Come, I live here already. It's no skin off my butt for you to move, come on over and we'll see. And we ended up writing a ton of stuff right off the top, and then recorded the first album called Demo Model 256. And just towards the end of recording, things kind of weren't working out between us, and we parted ways. And at that very moment, Steve came right back into the picture and picked up and helped me finish the album. And we did that album actually with a really cool guy named Garth Richardson. He's kind of a really well-known producer. He's worked with like Catherine Wheel and Chili Peppers and stuff.
I love Catherine Wheel.
Yeah.
Does he know Wayne, or they buds, or
Wayne from
Garth?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's actually the son of Jack Richardson, the guy that produced Love It to Death for Alice Cooper and all that.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Guess who?
That's cool.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. So we a long story about how we met him, but the weirdest circumstances. But he ended up mixing the album. And so Steve came back and Garth got involved, and Ringo, our drummer, I don't know if he's out there in the netherworld. He said he was coming tonight, but if you're out there, Ringo, hey, goes by Renee. You have the list. Anyway, so Steve and Ringo and I decided to keep it going. And then Steve and I started writing more stuff together and did another album and another album, and another, and suddenly here we are, years later. Steve's guitars are on the wall, and we're
so did you guys record it during the pandemic or before?
Both. I think we started in December 2019, didn't we? Our first studio session.
Yeah.
And then I guess we did another session about May of 2020, something like that. And then a whole bunch of overdubs.
Yeah, we were all masked up in the studio.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you traded files on your computer and recorded stuff like at home, or did you if you went into the studio and just masked up and did that thing?
A bit of both, a bit of everything, actually.
Yeah, because I found that there was so much great music. I think Kurt Vance from Power Pop Overdose is listening too. Does a great show.
Hey, Kurt, nice to see you.
And I find, and I'm sure he finds that like for me, and I also have I'm not an owner of Big Blast Records is like all our buddies. Like we have all our 6 bands on there, and we were doing. So when all this happened, we started doing the live streams like Big Blast on the Facebook page for Big Blast Records. Like every single week, we'd pick a theme, or I'd pick a theme, and the guys would, way more talented than me, they would play and sing, and from these different bands, Bishop Stardust with Stunt Club, and Phil and Gotti, and Mark Watson Band, and Golden Richards, all that stuff. So it was at first it seemed like everybody just was didn't know what to do. And trying to do the radio show from home, I was doing it, but I wasn't finding any new music because everybody was like, well, I don't want to release anything right now because I don't think everybody's freaked out. I don't think we can't play a show. That was a big thing. It was everybody's used to putting out your music and then going to clubs and being like, here it is. And that is great, right? Because it's we all want to see live music, and you're going to win fans that way more than I think anything else. And so bands were locked down and they weren't doing anything. Then all of a sudden, I think everybody got restless. And then it seemed like this explosion of music, and it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I find that this year, I can't keep up with all the great stuff I hear, from you guys and from everybody. Every single week, and my show's only an hour, but I can fill it up every single week pretty much with all new stuff just within a week that I really think is cool and that I dig. So it's just, I think everybody's sitting on it. Now it's like this explosion. And then you guys had your album. Did you treat it any differently when you released it? Like knowing like what was going on?
Well, yeah. So luckily Adrian, one the 25% of us that's not here today, is, like Steve said, a really great engineer, and we were able to we did the drums in the big studio, and then we did all of the overdubbing at his home, and social distancing, but there's only 2 of you or 3 of you in the house at most, and then Adam sent his stuff. We go back and forth, and he did his stuff from Portland where he lives. So that was how it got finished. But then, when you get down to what do you do to promote it?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because you can't be like, hey, let's book a bunch of shows.
Right.
You guys have done an amazing job, and I'll tell anybody out there, and I know like all you guys promote it, but I know, Vic, you're just very good at promoting your stuff in the right way. And if you're listening out there of the bands, you can't be too shy. If you put something on, you put all the work into it, you've got to let people know. But of course, you want to be a good guy. You don't want to have like, I've come across this before where in the past too, or like bands, somebody might just be like, dude, this is the greatest thing you'll ever hear. Like, don't tell people that, because maybe it is really great. I don't know. Maybe it's okay. Everybody's different, subjective music. But you do like an amazing job because you treat people well and you get it out there. And I will give this a little hint to other bands, especially ones in Chicago. And I don't want to get myself in trouble, but if we tag you, or if Kurt plays you on Power Pop Overdose, or whoever it is, or so many cool shows, Chase the Essential, whatever it is, if you know that they played you, like, just like give it back, and you give it back like all the time, because you're going to help me promote. Like, you're great at that. So you're a great band and a cool band. So when you say, hey, Power Pop Overdose playing our track here and blah, 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 I know that he has to appreciate it. I know I appreciate it. But if I'm really into a band and I tag them a few times and like it's crickets, I may not play that. I'm just being honest. I may not play that band because, like,
well, it's totally fair. I mean, it is a bit of a cross. It works. It's win-win is how I see it. And yeah. I'm not going to lie and say there's times that you wonder, like, are you posting too much about this stuff? But I totally agree. If you're not appreciative of people that support you, I mean, we've got this fun thing going on with, like, I don't know, do you have a Power Pop Shop T-shirt going? Because if you do, man, that's like my new thing.
I don't. It would be cool to have one. I guess I should look into it.
You should get one, man, with the old Pop Shop logo mixed in with it. I
don't have a logo. That's the thing. Somebody want to make me? Who's your graphic designer? Somebody want to make me? I have a theme song, which is cool. I like the theme song we did, but like I don't have.
Steve would design one for you. Don't you remember the old Pop Shop? Did you ever have that in Chicago? Like back in like I don't know 70s, 80s?
It wasn't in Chicago. It's a Canadian thing, but. Yeah. Okay. I remember it because I grew up in Buffalo, and Buffalo's everything Canadian. Buffalo's right. Canada. It's like it doesn't matter. It's like Canada's Buffalo, Buffalo's Canada. It's the most Canadian American city that there is by far. Okay. And we had the Pop Shop, of course, when I was growing up, and that's where I got Power Pop Shop. Because instead of doing SHOP, I did it for the Pop Shop. That's why I did it.
Okay.
Well, you answered my question.
That company is from Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay. We got it in Edmonton when I was a kid. We used to get those plastic cases of Pop Shop bottles.
It's the best. And they were so smart because they put everything in clear bottles, right? So like a kid comes in and now they got all these colors and you're looking at all the colors and you're like, there's blue, there's red, and there's orange. And you could see it and you're like, get your case. And you're like,
yeah, for sure. Well, that's really nice of you too, to say thank you, Kirk, and thanks for all playing us, as much as you have. It's really so. It kind of goes back to your question about, like, with the pandemic, what the hell do you do when you got a new record that you want to release? So we were lucky enough to have the recording thing worked out with Adrian and with Adam, and even Steve did a little recording at his house too, because all 3 of them are good with that. I'm about as good with home recording as I am with rhythm guitar, which is not so good at all. But they were all able to do that kind of stuff, and I just sort of sit and kind of oversee it and boss Adrian around a bunch, and call myself producer. I don't really know what that means, but in the end, it worked out it sounds pretty good in the end, which I guess is all that really matters, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to, what do you do to promote it? So luckily at this very moment, I remember right at the very beginning, we got it finished, and Steve sent me about a 30-second clip of just him and a couple found pieces of film. And he said, hey, maybe we should do a video. And he said, I'll take it on. And he sent me this little clip from Rip It Off of him just doing 30 seconds of it. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. Because we can't go out and play anyway. And our bass player lives in Portland. So, again, a little bit complicated. So Steve's videos have had a lot to do with us being able to have, content, as well as, the promotional stuff you mentioned. So that's kind of been the cool thing. And people are texting me as we're.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think video is a really strong way to promote your stuff during the pandemic.
And there was a thing that a conversation that we had. I remember, Vic, when you were just kind of fixing to start the promotion, and you had talked about you and Steve had both read some articles about releasing a record in the current age, and it helped you figure out a timetable for releasing a video first, a single first, and then a video to follow, and then the album. And whatever you followed with that was super effective with just building up a little bit of anticipation,
Yeah, you guys did a great job. I think the other thing that bands should probably you guys realize, but can realize, is that it used to be this whole vibe of well, I release something and I've got 2 weeks to let's say you release a single that you want. I got 2 weeks to release this, and I've got 2 weeks, to get this out and crank it out, but then it's too late. It's not. You can work a song for a really long time, if it's good. I'm not talking 5 years, but you've got a year to keep working your whatever you work, your videos, your shows, your Spotify. I mean, I know you guys you're still getting plays on stuff that I heard. You were getting played new stuff on new shows that I heard 6 months ago, Rip It Off, it's still getting played. So I think you can really work something like a long time, and I our little band, Golden Richards, had this first song we did. It was this, it was about Bjorn Borg and John McEnroe. It sounds ridiculous, but if you want to check it out, it's this coming.
Which one is it?
I don't know if you mentioned that it's called Borg versus McEnroe.
Oh no! I just know the last three.
That was the first one.
Check them out; they're really good.
Thank you. But that was the first one, and I idolized those guys. I played tennis growing up in high school and college, and I'm older, and so those were the guys when tennis was rock stars. They were rock stars back then. Borg, McEnroe, Connors. So I sent out a bunch of stuff, and I was on the other end of it, send out. And, you deal with a lot of rejection, of course, right? And then it's you get a few hits. We got a few cool things. It was cool. But then, we had a new single, so I sort of dropped that and went to the new one. But Borg kept getting, I would get emails back from, Switzerland or the radio thing in, Netherlands, and it was but I sent that 6 months ago, and I didn't, follow up on it. And then they'd be hey, I like this Borg versus McEnroe. This is cool. I'm going to play it on Radio Halen, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be yeah, cool. But so you never know. There's so much out there. So the lifespan of your album is awesome, and it's well deserved that you keep getting played. You guys keep getting played. And that's why I think it's so cool, in your album where I'm part of the reason I did it is because I knew we were doing this interview. And I was oh, I want to play one of your songs on Tuesday, but I've already played a few. And so it's I said, oh, there's more here. And I went through it, and I was oh, that song, that's an awesome song that I'm going to play. It's different. So and I probably played you the first time, Rip It Off, last year. So you can really, I think, Maybe.
Yeah, it came out at the end of January, so
I played it then. So January, it's 6 months almost. So
Yeah.
if you can really work something nowadays and keep it going. So is there anything what are some of the most exciting? Are you getting radio play like outside of North America, right? Like what's some of the cool things that you guys have had happen?
Geez, lots of cool stuff. I mean, that's actually one of the things I realized just this morning when a couple of the people that we've been in touch with from the UK were like, "Oh yeah, you're doing that thing on Facebook," and I was like, "What time?" I was like, "Oh, 6 p.m." It's like, well, that's 2 a.m. for them.
Yeah.
Like, not expecting that many people to be staying up till 2, but I mean that's the way it goes, right? Like all these different time zones. But yeah, a lot of cool shows in Europe and. The Ice Cream Man, Wayne in Sweden, and Patrick and his Sweet Music thing in Netherlands, and lots of UK stuff. And it's not even just play; it's like out of the blue, some guy says, "Do you want to do an interview? I'll send you some questions." And so it kind of goes back to what you were saying. Like if you just sort of can give the respect back and put the effort in to show that you care about what they're doing, it just seems to let it go, to keep it going. And I don't know. I mean, we like to think silly, that maybe the songs are also pretty good. So maybe they'll have had something to do with it, but who knows? Yeah. But you were a really good supporter to rip it off right off the top. I remember one of the first guys I used in our press kit as a quote, just so you know.
I didn't see that. I got to check that out.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, no, Rip It Off that's like everything that if you're a power pop fan and you don't like this album, then like you have it wrong, like you're in the wrong category. Like you didn't get it. Like you said you were a power pop fan, but like you must have meant something else. Like if they don't like your album, then like you're talking about, I don't know, super pop music or something. Like I don't get it. And I've gotten pop music from people, and I'm really nice about it, but I think they don't get the power pop. Some people don't. But it's always from Europe, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think they see pop, and they'll send me like really synthesized electronic pop.
Right.
I'm like, no, I said this is cool, but it's got to have like, it's more like big guitars and, So who are some of your influences? Like, what are some of your, see what I hear I mean, like, I'm not going to go through this list of what I hear, but you guys, I feel like you guys have like a little bit, like there's all these different power pop, like you can have like power pop / something. I feel like you guys are there's a classic rock vibe to what you guys do. Like, which is great because that's what I grew up on. I feel like you guys are like classic rock power pop. And like, so I hear The Who. And I hear Cheap Trick. And so like, but what are some of your like influences?
The Who and Cheap Trick.
Well, we're done. I got it all.
Thank you. Good night.
And the Beatles, obviously, but fans at your age, obviously anything melodic with guitars are going to have the Beatles in your background. Maybe some Stones, I don't know. But who do you guys like dig?
I grew up on a lot of 70s AM radio.
No, nice.
That contributed a lot to my guitar styling, I think.
Yeah. So when you say 70s AM radio, I'm trying to think.
Well, there was a lot of
the Sun, like Terry.
Yeah, Gass, like that. The Eagles. There was also I don't know what's some guitar stuff also.
Paper Lace.
Probably.
No, it's not that old.
Well.
We had a local AM station that just played. Well, Vic will love this. They played a lot of Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. Captain.
Really influenced your guitar style.
Right,
yeah. Captain Jack will get you high.
I don't want to go down that road on an interview, so we'll just keep moving. Steve's doing whatever he can to politely avoid saying that he grew up loving Van Halen.
Well, I did.
It's because, it's like Power Pop Show, but You can
Well,
call
I
it
mean,
this, man. That
I
was
love,
your,
I love Van Halen. I grew up and you mentioned Alice Cooper. I love those 70s Alice Cooper.
I mean, the only time I ever saw Cheap Trick in concert, they were opening for Kiss.
Oh,
And-
yeah, that was one of our first concerts
And,
ever.
and I think on the next Kiss tour, who was the opener?
that's such
Van
a cool
Halen.
show, man. That's amazing.
Van Halen was the next
Oh.
band discovered by Gene Simmons.
Right.
That's
Only his management company said, nah, pass. they didn't want to sign him. But he did. I love the early Van Halen stuff.
Yeah. There's always arguments of whether early Van Halen, like Van Halen 1, is power pop. I think it is.
I think they have elements of power pop, and I think what's cool about them is like Eddie Van Halen always understood like melody, like and a hook, and it's like no matter what was going on with their music, like there's a sing along chorus and like all their big songs, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, the touchstone on that album is "You Really Got Me."
yeah,
I mean, that's their cover on that
Yeah.
album.
and Dancing in the Streets is a very power pop version of that song.
Dance the
Van
Night
Halen-
Away.
Dance the Night
Van
Away.
Halen- Van Halen's great. Did you guys like Boston? I mean, the first Boston album, I was like 13, but it like blew me away. Like I couldn't stop playing it like on repeat, like constantly. Like
Actually,
the layers of sound were so cool. It was just like the guitars.
Steve does a bunch of those. You know how Tom Schultz loves those held note riffs, right? You know, the one single note melodic riffs that kind of go along behind.
Yeah.
You mentioned the silent type, and Steve's got like he does that like full on Tom Schultz bit there, and a bunch of times throughout the songs. Green Eyes too, if I recall, has that same kind of. You know, it's almost like BTO loved to do that too. Speaking of bands from that classic era, right?
Great.
Yeah, and you know who? I mean, the Jam. Ahmad Khan's has a lot of that.
Yeah,
on
you
it,
guys
and
have some
Setting
of that.
Suns.
I think the Jam's early stuff you guys have. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That was our biggest influence when we were kids, and still to this day is a huge influence on.
Yeah.
for sure.
There's a band here, and the guy, his name is Nico. He's awesome. He does like tons of cool cover stuff, but he's a super talented dude, and he does like all these covers, but it's always stuff like I like grew up like he has a Jam cover band, and they're awesome. And I've seen them.
Wow.
He has a Smiths cover band. He has the Cure cover band, the Psychedelic Furs cover band. He doesn't do them all the time, like when you get the players, but and they're all really good. But it's cool because nobody does a Jam. Who's going to do a Jam cover? And I've seen them, and they're awesome. They're really good.
Yeah, we saw them on their very last date in before they broke up. Last North American date before they broke up.
Wow.
Adam and I and our guitar player from the Mods and one of our roadies. We actually had a roadie back then, which is usually just a guy that likes to hang out with the band.
Yeah.
And we actually flew from Edmonton, where we grew up, to Vancouver because we heard the Jam were playing the Kerrisdale Arena, and we were all underage, and we snuck into a hotel and looking forward to a single room and the whole thing.
That's awesome.
Got their autographs, got to see the sound check, got to meet them after the show. It was a pretty influential moment in our young lives.
That's
for
awesome. So you guys got to grow up watching the Gretzky teams, like the Oilers? Ugh.
Yeah, we lived in Edmonton. We had seasons tickets in the first year of the NHL.
My God, they were so great.
Yeah.
I went to a game.
Rick Wayne.
Yeah, I saw Gretzky win the goal. Was it the goal record? I love hockey, and I grew up in Buffalo, and I used to go to game. My dad had season tickets and loved it, and then I'd go all the time. But I went to the Gretzky. I think that's when he scored the record. He broke the 76 or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And I went to the game, and it was all the press was there, and it was just like. Now he was incredible. We had a guy, Gilles Perreault, when I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I actually played until he was like 40, so I was older too. And Gilles Perreault, those are the two greatest players I've ever seen like live on the ice. Because Gretzky was doing things like his eyes were like in the back of his head, and it was just like Like he could see like where everybody was, like a video game, but like even better. And like his passing, like he's way faster than people thought, like skating. Like it didn't look like he was doing like, but he was like super fast. And he was amazing. But then Gilles Perreault was so great. He
just never had a team.
He never had a
Poor
great
guy.
team, but they went to the finals the one year,
Yeah.
and they had the French Connection line. They had Rene Robert, and Rick Martin. They had Danny Gare, they had Schoenfeld on D, Korab, and they had Crozier in the net. You can tell that I loved hockey growing up.
They had Dave Dryden.
They had Dave Dryden for a while, but
Dave Dryden was,
but he was like Ken's. He was like Ken's, like, you know.
Yeah, well, he went from there to Edmonton and
Yeah, he was like
lived
the
in our
poor man's
neighborhood. We
Ken
grew up
Dryden,
with
like-
his kids.
Yeah. And Gilles Perreault, you would see him, and I saw him do it a few times. He would get behind like his own net. I don't think you could do this now. Maybe everybody's so fast and strong, but still, they had great players. You go from behind his net. I saw him do it a few times, and he'd go through 5 guys. But it was the stuff that he was doing as he was doing it. Like he would skate, and then he'd be like, like the puck was like. So there's one guy down on the ice. Then he'd get up to like center ice, and then he'd do like a spinorama thing, and the next thing you know, he's like coming on the net, and he's like got the goalie, like I saw him do it a few times, like on the ground, and you're just like, this guy, what the fuck? This guy is like, you know, he's a wizard, man. I mean, he was like, I love hockey. You guys are giving us great stuff because like I love hockey. I like butter tarts, but you know, and music. 'Cause Sloan is like my favorite band, but there's a ton of bands. You guys are awesome. So are there bands that you guys dig now? Like who do you dig now?
Oh, well, lots of new, like, you know how you mentioned there's lots of these great new releases coming out over the last year. One of the really good benefits to following shows like yours and like some of these UK shows and some of the, you know, Kurt's show and Jim Prell's show and, you know, all these shows is that you end up hearing so many new artists that you know, just, you know, like they didn't know who we were 6 months ago and we didn't know who they were 6 months ago. But, you know, like there's some incredibly good records out there right now that are, you know, if this was another era, some of them would be huge in my opinion, you know, like Kevin Robertson, the guy from Vapor Trails, like he's got a solo album. It's just killer.
Steve, 70s AM radio stuff. That Kevin Robertson reminds me of that.
Oh, cool. I can check it.
Yeah, it's great. And Jim Traynor, he's got a really
Jim's great. He's got some great stuff on it.
Yeah, and Jeff Shelton's new project Deadlights. Like, I mean, I could just go on and on, but there's tons. Dirty Sidewalks out of Seattle.
See, them I don't know, so I'm gonna have to look them up.
Well, do you know the Boss Martians? Remember them?
I don't know them.
Oh, okay, so Evan, the main guy in that band, they've been around for like 20 years. He worked on the original demos with me and co-produced one of the tunes on game day. And he plays in the Sonics and he plays in this band Dirty Sidewalks with his brother. And they're really cool. They're kind of like this, I don't know, Ride meets Oasis-y kind of thing, but you know, I don't know. Yeah. They're really cool. Check them out.
Okay, I'll check them out. I mean, I don't know. There's probably like a West Coast thing. And then Buffalo, I moved to Chicago when I was 30, so I was still going out in Buffalo doing a lot of things. I'm going to see bands, and that's why Sloan was a big deal in Buffalo. And then Sloan came in, like I saw them touring for, Smear, like in Buffalo. And I heard it on the radio because we'd listen to CFNY and all that stuff in Toronto. And then I was like, wow, this band's amazing. But that was grungier then, and they got a little more rock, poppy. But so I don't know if these bands carry across Canada. Like, is Lowest of the Low, is that a deal in Canada for you guys?
Yeah.
They were such a big deal in Buffalo. People loved them in Buffalo. They went bananas for Ron Hawkins, but for Lowest of the Low, when they would come in and play, like it was the greatest shows. You go to these clubs and it was like everybody jumping up and down and, salesman cheats a lot, lead a little while tonight. I mean, that album, Shakespeare in My Butt, was like an amazing, like every song was great. So I didn't know if that went like West Canada, like.
Well, here's my Lowest of the Low anecdote. Is so when we were recording an album, Steve and I in our old band actually, and the engineer we were using had literally just like the day before we went in and started, had just finished the second Lowest of the Low album.
Wow.
And the funny thing about it is that both our album and their album both had songs on it that were written about and dedicated to a local treasure named Art Bergman. You know Art Bergman?
That name sounds familiar. It does.
Yeah, so he's this incredible artist that came out of the punk scene years ago, and he's still making records, actually. And we both happen to have songs about Art Bergman, so the engineer was getting a little tired of hearing about Art Bergman.
Yeah, the second that Lowest of the Low album was good, but the first one's like the self-produced classic, and then they got signed to whatever Universal Canada, and then some people didn't dig the second album because that was overproduced for them, like it didn't fit their like sound, but that was good. And then the Hip, of course. The funny thing about the Hip is I've seen them a bunch of times. I love that band. And Gord, it's a sad story, but he was so amazing as a front man. And the way he wrote lyrics, how do you write lyrics like that? Like so literate, and but you make them fit into like Rolling Stones style rock song.
Yeah.
How do you do that? But he did it. And it's like, so the Hip would come to Buffalo. If you go see the Hip anywhere else, if they toured around, even when they were like really in their prime, late 90s or whatever, like in Buffalo, they would sell out the Odd in like 10 minutes. So it was the same as being in Canada. But if you went anywhere else, I lived in LA for a year, and it was like 99, and had some friends who were also from Buffalo I was living with, and the Hip was coming to House of Blues on Sunset. And so we were like, oh, we got to go see the Hip. And it's like us and like 50 Canadians with flags and Toronto, Maple Leafs caps, like 50 people empty, like jumping up and down in LA to the Hip. But if they would have played there in Buffalo that same year, I'm sure they did, they would have sold out 20,000, and like they could have sold out 80,000. Wow. So it's like this weird thing where like Buffalo gets all absorbed into all the Canadian stuff. But are you guys fans of Sloan? Are you guys fans of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Big time. Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing Steve is, because he was like me. You were like stalking their gram, like to see.
Yeah.
Have you met them?
A lot of Sloan.
Have you met them before? Because they're really nice guys.
I think didn't like early on we played a show at the Pump with them, didn't we?
Oh, awesome.
Or around the same time?
Yeah, right back probably in the, it would have been in the Smeared days even, probably. I think it was their first album came out. And we also, when they were doing some rehearsing in Vancouver for some shows or something, they booked out the same rehearsal room and we had, and I remember sitting with them in the lounge there for a bit. And then, the only other time I remember is, again, just interesting studio thing, is when we were recording our second album, Black Eyed Soul, they were in the other studio it was like Bryan Adams' big studio called The Warehouse in downtown Vancouver. It's like, one of those old, like top of the line kind of studios, and which we never could have afforded, but Garth kind of helped us get in there, and we were in there, and they were working on what is my favorite album of theirs, Pretty Together, at the same time. So, we were actually hearing If It Feels Good, Do It being before it was finished and that kind of stuff. So I can't say we know them, but we've bumped elbows and butts and shoulders and whatever with them a few times.
Yeah, that's awesome. I put on a show. What's that?
Our brother Paul, Adam and I have another brother who lived in Halifax. He knows them.
Oh. I did a show here before, that was right before the pandemic, I guess. And I do these Pop Shop shows sometimes where I try to have like a theme night. It's mostly covers. And they're really popular because, people like that stuff. And I got a little nutty, and it was like, I'm like, wait, Sloan. I'm like, it's, Twice Removed. It was like the 25 years or something. And I was like, and I'm in a cover band with my friends, and one of the Hillary, she's a drummer and vocalist. She's really good, and she loves Sloan too. But the other three don't know Sloan too well, and I give them a lot of credit. I was like, I want to promote this through the Power Shop. I want to do Sloan, Twice Removed, and then I found that Weezer Blue was 25 years too. They're both 25 years. And that would be like a really cool like type of night. And I give those guys credit because we had to learn like Sloan songs. It wasn't just us. I mean, we can't learn all those songs. And we can't sing like that. That's the one thing you can't do for sure. Is you can't sing like those harmonies. Oh, we can't like they do. But like, you know, I had two other really great bands that were also going to do, and everybody had like picked out their Sloan songs and everybody picked out their Weezer songs. And it was awesome. But we actually did a couple off of other albums, and we did If It Feels Good. No, we didn't do If It Feels Good. What was the song you mentioned?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh no, we didn't do that.
You did Good in Everyone, maybe.
Yes.
How did I know? But it's an easy one to play.
Yeah, I just hit those. Yeah, I just give you like, because I'm not a very good player, so I'm just like, okay, these are power chords I can just play, and then they can all sing. I can't sing, so. But it was like a lot of fun. It was like nobody has ever done a Sloan, believe me, in Chicago ever. Has there ever been a Sloan cover night? Like, but what was really cool was like they turned people away. It's a great place, Mcenroe Saloon. It's a great owner, the really great music vibe. They have really great original music there. It's a great music dive bar. They fit about 100 people, and people had to not get in. People couldn't get in. A lot of people.
Those are the best nights.
Yeah, a lot of people were Weezer, but like I was impressed with how many people were there for Sloan and were really psyched about it, and were singing along to like, because they were fans. And they're probably the same people I see at when Sloan comes, you know, the real Sloan, much better. But
I wanted to ask you something. You mentioned something about the silent type. Were you going to actually play it now, or were you going to put it on a show?
I'm playing it tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
And it'll sound awesome through the big studio of WNUR.
Nice.
It'll go on over
the two-nighter out of you.
Yeah, well, I thought that made sense, you know, like the vibe of like, and when I was going to interview you guys, I heard that song and I thought it was awesome. And I'm like, wait, I haven't heard this one, and it's super great. And so I'm like, I'm going to play this one because I don't know if people have played it or not, maybe, but I was trying to get so Mark. I just before we get to it, we'll watch your video. I don't want to keep it for too long. So Mark Bignell has had some great comments here too. So I know he's probably a buddy of yours.
Yeah, are you Vic and Monkey? Are you guys seeing the Facebook chat?
No, you can see the Facebook chat. Okay,
I haven't seen anything. I'm just signed into the StreamYard.
See if
so
you
Mark
open
was giving
another
us like
window,
hockey
you can see.
history, like the Sabres upset the Canadians in 16. That's true, and I remember that. And that was like the Guy Lafleur Canadians and those guys.
But I don't know if we still got him. But Todd Carey was on.
Oh yeah, from Arizona. Yeah,
from Arizona. Is he still from Arizona?
Yeah.
So Todd, and then Adam Brown did. Adam's a great guy. He popped on too. He loved the hockey talk from Montreal.
And Mark from Vancouver.
Yeah, Mark. That's what Mark
plays us a lot.
And Mark said that you guys had a thing called. I guess I missed it when we were talking about the Pop Shoppe. He said you had a thing called Pick a Pop.
Yeah, Pick a Pop.
Oh, I remember Pick a Pop. Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Oh yeah, and then Mark said he's playing Green Eyes on his radio show
on Wednesday. Thank you, Mark.
It's cool. It's cool. All these radio shows, a few guys like. It's not like anybody's in competition. Like I think all these guys are really cool and have great taste in music, and it's cool that everybody's doing their own thing. And I think everybody has like a little different spin sometimes, like on what they like.
Sure.
And for sure. When we do like a real mod flavored thing, there's certain songs they tend to go towards, and even if they go into our older albums, they tend to, go towards like the songs that are sort of prototypical Whoish modish kind of vibes, and then the stuff like Super Zero Blues, which is a little, kind of like almost like a bit of, it's like a Bunnyman-ish with a little bit of darker, almost little heavy rock in it too, is another side to what we do. And a bit of prog even, like some crazy organ and a weird drum ending and all that shit. So, we do try to not just play straight up the middle power pop. We try to, vary stuff enough that you're not just listening to the same song for an hour.
Yeah, and I love like alternative, like bigger guitar. Like I love a little alternative rock vibe to the melody, and I like, I like post. If you can do post punk '80s like power pop stuff, I love. I'm not as much of a la 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 power pop guy, and that's cool if you're people. I know radio shows that play that stuff. I want bigger. I want something. I'd rather hear. I love something funneled through Van Halen and power pop. That's more my.
You come to the right place.
Right. Yeah, that's why you guys are here. That's more my vibe. Like the bigger guitar, heavier stuff with the melodies. Like all the '90s power pop was so great with like the Posies and all that stuff. Sloan and. I mean, there was just some Matthew Sweet, but all that's really cool, fuzzy guitar, like power pop. That was so great in the '90s. Weezer, of course. Now Weezer does weird stuff sometimes.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember one thing about recording this album. I was getting mixes from the band so I could overdub my bass parts, and I'd work with Vic on putting together the bass parts. I'd improvise, send him 3 or 4 versions, and he'd help me, I like this one, try this there, that sort of thing. But
yeah,
when I was getting these mixes, I would walk around listening to them and trying to figure out my bass melody, what it was going to be, etc. And when the proper mixing, and I was thinking to myself, wow, the guitars on this album are so awesome. And then one day I got the new set of new mixes, and the guitars had gone from mono to split, like with Steve in one ear and Vic in the other ear. And it just brought out the richness of the guitar parts. And that, I don't know, it's such a guitar driven, and it's an album for guitar lovers, really. Yeah, I think.
Oh, it's a great album. I love it. And like, what's great about your stuff is like the energy on every song is there. Even if you slow the tempo a little bit, it's still really dynamic, and there's tons of hooks, but the energy is always like, it never like, that to me is like power pop. It should be energetic. And then Robert Kreutzer, who must have a radio show, I guess.
Oh, he does. He's got a great show called Garage Rocktopia. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Rob, sorry, I can't see any of the stuff here. So Kirk's just our conduit. So
that's cool. I know Garage Rocktopia. I don't know if he would like our band stuff. It might not be garagey enough for him.
Oh, he would like your stuff. Send it to him.
Oh, he would? Okay, I'll send it to him.
For sure he would.
But he's right. It's like, it makes sense that we all like a little different varieties because there's 7 decades of music to, everything has a little bit of a different spin. It's all subjective, If I could love something and you may be like, God, that stinks and whatever. People probably think our band's music stinks, but some people like it. But we should do your video for. Wait, what did Mark say? He said. And Amy said you're a great guitarist, Steve. And let me just talk about your guitars, because this is like fun for me. Because I love playing guitar. I'm not so good at it. I can play songs like chords. So you have an SG, a black SG.
That's pretty much it.
A Strat.
Oh, that's just a bass. That's what I.
Oh, that's a bass. Okay, it has a Strat shape.
Yeah.
To it. So is that your main guitar, your SG?
Yeah. I do have a Strat, but I never play it. I mean, the SG is all I use. So
SG is such a great rocking guitar, man. It's just like
my very first guitar was a SG copy. It was called a Raven. I don't even know who makes Ravens, but
well, the Epi SG is actually really nice. Those are nice now.
Yeah,
you can get it for like half price, and they play really well.
Totally.
Yeah, they're good. So I
Vic, is that a headstock of a guitar behind you, Van?
Sure is. My new guitar, buddy.
What does Vic
I want to see that. Can you show us that?
What does Vic play?
Well, this is my brand new baby that I just got.
Oh, that is sweet. Look at that silver, man.
That is a sweet guitar.
I can't wait to play
that. Yeah, I knew that was
amazing.
That's awesome.
I was actually going to try and use it for the first time on our next video, but now I've shown it. So for the 4 people out there watching, I guess. But I also play a Rickenbacker, which is what I've been playing for most. I just bought this. I've been using a Rickenbacker for 20 some years, and I just the Rick and the Vox. When I don't want to be too self-deprecating. I got a text from my wife saying, "Don't be so frickin' self-deprecating." Quality control, But she's right. So, but the thing is that Steve does all the good guitar stuff. I do my stuff is kind of hacky, but I used to be a drummer back in the bands that Adam and I played in. So the one thing I do have going for me is I've got a decent sense of rhythm. So as long as my hands are agreeing to play the chords, I can chord along and get, you're a rhythm player as well, Kirk, so
Yeah.
And then it just kind of, but the good thing is that I'm never stepping on his toes because I'm never asking to do a lead. It's just like, here, I'll just do this, Steve. You take it from here, buddy. That's even kind of our relationship, right? Like, there's things that I'm good at.
But you need that. You need that. And then, like, even in the cover band, we have a good guy who can play. I don't play lead stuff. I've learned. I started playing and learning in my 40s. It's like I'm so thrilled I get to play, like, with my friends and play with these guys way more talented than me. But what I learned was I could do is like I always had good rhythm. And I understand like the music, like the song. And so I realized that if I could play the song, that there was a place I don't have to do all the other stuff.
Totally.
But somebody on guitar should play the song.
Yeah, if you're in a band, I as a bass player, I've noticed that really the only person that really needs to play the song is the bass player.
Yeah.
Everybody else can comp, you can add, you can drop in, drop out.
That's the thing
bass
too.
player
Right?
is the one.
And they're the ones
because even with rhythm, you could play the chords, but you don't have to play through all the chords.
You can play one chord.
You could play a chord and just let it ring out on the verse or chorus, whatever it is. Pause. Then you can actually play the next chord. And actually, if you want to rock it out a little, you can do it. Then lay back a little. Let the lead guy do his thing. Come back. Yeah. It's cool.
But the bass player, you can't blow the chord.
No, you can't. You got to keep the song. You're the bottom. You're the house of the song. You're the basement. Somebody's got to stand on you.
Yeah.
The video. So I want to play the video. Well, let's talk about the video. We'll play it, and then we can wrap it up so people don't get too, But people seem to be into it. I don't know. You guys are a good interview. Okay, so Super Zero Blues is a cool video. I watched it. And it's got some cool effects on there. I like the vibe of it for sure. So where were you when you filmed it?
We filmed this all over the place. We filmed some close to where I live. We filmed some close to where Vic lives. Adam filmed some in Portland. We filmed some out across the bridge. It's all over the place.
You guys have great scenery out in Portland too, and Vancouver. So I've never been there. I've been out west a lot. That's my one thing I need to. I've never been northwest, but it looks like the scenery, the geography you have is amazing.
It is pretty beautiful.
Yeah, it is for sure. The thing that we were trying to get is I kind of like Steve makes the videos, and kind of like Adam was saying with the bass playing. I act sort of a bit as a consultant, but for the most part, Steve does all the hard work, and. The only thing is, with the song, I wanted it to reflect what the theme of the song was, and it's a song about being isolation and so I just gave him the phrase "lost in the wilderness," and that's where we kind of wanted to take it. So the idea for the settings really had a lot to do with to try to capture that feeling of feeling kind of lost in a relationship that. Is seemingly irretrievable, but it does offer a little bit of hope at the end, and that's where we ended up bringing a bit of color back into it at the end, which was again to try to give it a little bit of a positive thematic spin on it too.
Yeah, it's really cool. The song is great. That song is really like I would. You guys could disagree. I think that song is really. I would almost really put that song in the classic rock sort of category. It has that vibe to me, which is really great. I think it's like got that sort of cool, like heavy, cool, like classic rock vibe, which is not like so easy. Bands would do it all the time if it was. It's hard to do. I find like classic rock stuff like that can be pretty difficult to do sometimes.
Not when Steve's playing guitar.
Oh, yeah, no, all the guitar stuff.
Pocket. Got somebody that just knows how to play that style. Which is
All your guitar stuff is great. All your stuff is great. All your musicianship is like, you can hear it right away. If like Mark and Bob and these guys know too when they hear stuff, because we all love music. Like when you hear something a band right away, you're like, oh, these guys are like, yes, they've probably been playing since they're little, but like they've got it, and they've got the musicianship and the song structure, and everything is like right on. So let's see if we can play this. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna try to share the screen and do this, and I'm gonna mute you guys out because I'm gonna have to do that. But let me see if I can get this to work. So this would be Super Zero Blues, or the video. Now, for some reason, like this doesn't run technology. So far, this interview, this has been the best Wi-Fi experience I've had on here, honestly. But if it doesn't work, you guys will go, and I'll put the video up on my Facebook page after this, so you can have it. But let's try. All right, I'm muting you guys. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna try this. Let's see. Hey, I think that worked. You guys can unmute yourself, but I can't unmute everybody.
Yep.
I think that worked.
Yeah.
Nice. I could hear the audio coming through.
Yeah.
I think the audio was coming through your mic, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it had to come through my mic. I think if I muted, like, nobody would have heard anything. But no, that's cool. Like, I think that's the first time it worked that well.
Yeah, I think that worked. Luck.
Oh, so Mark, I was going to say that Mark said he doesn't have to worry about F-bombs on Canadian, but I can't play F-bombs.
I think that worked.
I can't play. I can't say.
I could hear the audio coming through.
Yeah.
I think the
We lost somebody, but he'll come back. He can pop back in. Steve, he can pop back in. We can't use fuck in FCC world and here. So you need to make a version where you like the clean version. So that's a pretty awesome video. It's super cool. I like the song, and here comes Steve. We'll put him back in. So I was saying I like the song, and I think Steve, like your guitar stuff, that's what I was thinking of when I heard it again. I listened to it. Like you're doing a lot of like cool Hendrix type fills in there.
I guess.
I think you are.
Thanks.
It has that type of heavier, like bluesy quality to it, where like and it's got that tone, like I'm going there.
Yeah,
I'm going Hendrix.
I was using some pedals and stuff to kind of muck around and make some noise.
Yeah, and your drummer is killer on this track.
Yeah,
like his fills are awesome.
Yeah, and then, I had to convince him to do that drum ending, just so you know.
Yeah, because
he was trying to do like a Ringo or a Jim Keltner, and he's like, "No, man, I don't know. We don't do drum solo, man." It's like, no, it's gotta. We just need the chaos of the drums at the end. So it took a little bit of arm twisting, but I'm glad that he caved in the end.
The drum stuff was great at the end. I think it works, and like it's probably like I don't want to be a wanker and be like do a drum solo, man. But it's like, welcome back, my friends. Welcome, Carl Lake. ELP.
Ooh.
Oh.
Hey, I like a lot of. I grew up. I like a lot of different stuff. I was a rapper in high school. I had a name and everything. All right.
What was your rap name? Come on.
It was a horrible name. I was in high school. I used to take like the records. I would get the 12-inch singles, and on the backside it was always instrumental. And so then I would take like my little recorder and I would make my lyrics, and it'd be like off of the Curtis Blow, like That's the Breaks or something. And I'd take the folk side and make my own. So it was Dr. K, because I couldn't be that creative like back in high school. I don't know if I was any good, but I made tapes and passed them around. Some people liked them. But anybody when you're 16 thinks it's cool if you do anything.
Yeah,
even if it's not good. So that was super cool. And now I'm thinking with all these, like, you guys have a lot of fans. You guys have a lot of fans from radio stations because I see all the people here, and that's awesome. And I think it'd be cool to have. What do you guys think? You guys have been a great interview. Would it be cool to have all these? What if I did like all the radio guys? We talked about music. That could be a cool
That'd be fun
thing. I only thought about it because there's all these fun conversations going on in Facebook. Plus, we need like a community of we don't have like a group thing. Like bands can have like the DJs don't have like a group thing.
It's good.
Well, the power pop.
Right. So all these guys could be on. We could all be just talking about music and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what they think, and I'm getting total silence from. Yeah, that's right.
Rex knows metal on them, so maybe it's the face for radio thing. Who knows?
Yeah. So,
They don't want to be on screen.
Yeah, all your good vibes. You just I know you're kidding. So Rex. Oh yeah, Rex. I was Dr. K. I know Rex had my tape in Montreal. He's like, wait, you're Dr. K. It was like Dr. K. I got all the moves to get a. What does a 16-year-old want to rhyme with K? It starts, I said, "No, don't eat that. My dog's eating her toy. Hold on." My dog's eating her toy. She likes to eat toys. Or our dog, I should say. My wife and her dog. All right, so that was awesome, guys. Robert, does he go by Robert? Bob said he would do that interview with the radio guys. So what are you guys working on? Let's sort of wrap it up, but I want to know what you guys are you working on new stuff?
Actually, we are. We just started 3 new songs the other night in rehearsal, and we got a rehearsal tomorrow. And, the one thing about the pandemic that was really good is that I had a lot of time to do a lot of writing. And, Steve sent me a few bits, and I was able to turn them into a couple songs. And I had a bunch of stuff that I just came up with during the downtime. So I think, probably have about 9 or 10 new songs ready to go.
Wow!
Right now,
a whole album.
Almost. Wouldn't mind having 1 or 2 more to pick and choose a little, but we're starting already into that. Even though this still feels really fresh and new, and it's been great, and we want to keep doing it.
You guys have great momentum, but I really think you could. That's what's cool is you can record your start working on your next album. But I think this album has tons of legs still, and you're still going to get a ton of cool stuff, and that's awesome. And now you get to play shows. Hopefully, I know Canada's finally getting there. The vaccine, so hopefully, because I see Sloan scheduled a fall tour in Canada. They're not coming here. So are you guys going to play out live pretty soon or fall?
Fall, maybe.
Kind of play out live in the fall?
We kind of have to see how things
Sorry,
are.
you guys froze up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about whether you guys are going to play live in the fall now that Canada's starting to sort of clear up a bit.
Well, I don't know. I guess we'd have to get Adam up here or get him on the way down. But it'd be nice to start doing some shows, in the fall again. There's so many great, cool. It'd be great to be able to come out your way. There's a lot of people out in the sort of Chicago and Chip in Michigan, and a lot of sort of places. A bunch in Brooklyn, of all places.
Oh, cool!
The big takeover and Radio New York International, and this thing called the Dream Stream. There's a lot of stuff out that way too. Yeah. But that's a long ways away from Vancouver, BC, and you got to be able to fund it somehow too. So,
yeah. Well, if you guys want to come to Chicago, I can get you a gig in Chicago. But it's going to be the gig deal. It's going to be door money and all that stuff. Nobody's going to.
Well, it's still good to know. That's the way of the world right now, right? It's not about making. It's like the same with the album. You can get a lot of airplay, a lot of interviews. It doesn't translate to money necessarily, but it's not. Really, I don't know. It's not really the point,
But if you guys come to Chicago, I do shows. I'm starting to do them. I'm going to do one in November. I do these Pop Shoppe showcases sometimes. I promote. I used to do 3 or 4 different shows a year. They do pretty well. We can do that. If Kurt wants to be on that, we can do a combo promo, people like the idea of a name and to have you guys play. There's always great Chicago bands we get to play with you. So,
Golden Richards.
you know what, dude? We never even played like even a rehearsal, like even once. And we have to because we have a gig in the middle of November. So I'm like, okay, we have to start. Everything was done. I've gone to my buddy Bill's, who's great band. Bishop's Daredevil Stunt Club is his main band. This is his side gig.
I heard them this the other day. Actually, they're really good.
They're
I think
awesome.
Mike Lidskin played them on Woody Radio.
Okay, they're awesome.
They're really cool.
They're really, really cool. Actually, you guys, if you came, that's a great matchup. You guys would really fit well together. So, you know, he's in there, and we've got this gig in the middle of November, and I've gone over to his place to record stuff with him for the Golden Richard stuff, but like we have not played. We got other band members. We've never actually all played in the same room. So we might have to do that before, or really suck when we go live. But he could do the Bishop stuff, like those guys, like they've been doing it for so long that he wouldn't need to rehearse much for that stuff. They're a great band. So this was awesome, guys. This was a really cool interview. Congratulations on the band and the album. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gil.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Do you have anything?
Yeah.
You're welcome, man. Thank you. This is definitely one of the most fun interviews I've done. And now we might do this Power Pop Roundtable thing.
Yeah, that's
sounds
cool.
Great.
Yeah, I'll tune in for that. Sure.
For sure.
And thanks to everybody who did tune in on
Thanks so
Facebook.
much.
And if
No,
you're
it really
listening,
picked up.
if you're listening after the fact, thanks for that.
Yeah, because you say you can record it and put it online, right? So we can still direct
It's
folks.
on. As soon as I end this, it's already still there. It'll be there. It's there now, and then whenever we're done, it'll still be there. And Todd says, "Later, guys."
Later, Todd.
Later, Todd.
Robert, or I don't know if it goes Robert. Bob, it's nice to meet you. And he says,
RK. It goes by RK.
RK. RK is cool. DJ RK. And then Kurt, all those guys, man. It's great to meet you guys too. It's really cool that you tuned in. So Star Collector has you guys have a great, like, you know, pull, because I've done some interviews before. I've never had any of the Power Pop Radio royalty tune into one of these. So it's pretty cool. So that was from you guys, not me. So, all right, guys. So anything else you want to say to your fans? Just gonna keep rocking and all that?
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
we're
tuning
gonna
in.
just start working on the new album and maybe get some shows in and keep doing what we're doing. It's just been a really fun time since it came out. I mean, who'd have thought that putting an album out during COVID times would actually be, you know, you think people just get super frustrated, but it's actually been a great last 5 or 6 months. Like, you know, yeah, really fun.
It's
Well,
actually
congratulations,
brought
man.
us
Yeah.
together
Yeah.
with the power pop scene in a way that we never were before. So
Yeah, I think the scene has exploded in the last couple of years. It's really cool. There's been this big, outreach, and people figured out, like, hey, this is a niche that, you know, is out there, and like, so other people started to get into it, and because it really was David Bash, and I give David credit. You know, I've known him for a long time, and he really started. He always had his thing, and then it all sort of the last 5 years, it seems to have really exploded, like, out of all that stuff. So,
You know, yeah, if it wasn't for David, we wouldn't have I mean, we went to Europe 3 times, and the first time that we went was simply because he sent us an invitation and said, I'm doing IPO at the Cavern in Liverpool, and we're like, well, how can we say no to that?
oh, you went to that? Because
Yeah. And Adam was playing
Bishop's
bass with us.
Daredevil. Bishop's Daredevil Stunt Club went to that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we did it. We did it a couple of years, and we've played it in Portland, Adam's hometown, in LA, and here in Vancouver. I set David up with the club initially, actually at the Railway Club, which is now not doing sort of closed for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's been like, I guess we've known him for what, 17, 18 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
So he's great, really.
But now it's just exploded, and like Robert says, and you know, to sign off with you guys, like, yes, that is totally true of a lot of bands. But yes, if the music world worked the right way, you guys would have hit songs all over the radio. It just doesn't. The music world doesn't work that way. It never did, even back then, and it's even worse now, as we know. So because you can put crap up on social media and you're young, and that's things take off, and doesn't mean that you have the substance that you guys have in your music. So, but you're getting play all over the world, and that's, it's cool. And then, that's, you got to, that's where it's at. So it's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're having fun doing it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. This will be up so you can share it with all your fans, and maybe I'll cut up a little piece of it. I'll put it on Instagram. I'll cut like a minute of it or something if I have time. But it was great to talk to you guys, and listen to the Power Pop Shop tomorrow night, because you're going to hear Star Collector, and you won't see Vic in the shades, but you can visualize that when you hear the music.
Feel it.
And yes, and Mark's right. Monopolies have ruined music, but it was always bad. That's even worse now. And the music artists get ripped off like more than any other arts industry there is in the world. Yeah. So peace out, guys, as Robert says. And tomorrow night, tune in. It's from 9 to 10 p.m. on WNUR 89.3. You can go to WNUR.org. It's 9 to 10 Central Chicago area, and I have a cool show for you guys, all new stuff. So I want to give a shout out to my sometimes guest co-host DJ BK, who couldn't make it tonight. He had family obligations, and that's cool. It's important. And but he does a lot of some of the shows with me, and does the Raddest Tracks of the Month show too. Cool. All right, so thanks, guys. Wave to your fans. All right. All right, dude.
Thanks, Kirk.
Later.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thanks.